Hello. So it's Brianna here, and I was asked by a friend to do a demo for jelly print making, and I did this, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and I made this little plate using some of the print paper from it. I don't know if you can see that. I have my camera at a really weird angle because I want to focus on the plate. So, yeah, this was the piece that I made, and I actually made a bunch of prints when I did this because once you get started, it's hard to stop. Hi, Joe. So once you get started, it's hard to stop, and sometimes you don't get prints that you like very well, and this was my first time really experimenting with this. So I was trying different papers. This was a thicker printmaking paper, and this was a thinner parchment paper. So this was the thick printmaking paper. I found a couple of things that were a little off. Like, I was using my golden acrylics and they wanted to stay on the plate, and I know that other people have used them, and I actually used Liquitex, but it was heavy body, and I've seen people use them on these plates, but they don't release very well in my experience. Maybe somebody else's experience, they're having great luck with it. But I tried it and I was like, oh my god. Fortunately, I had a few little bottles of these. I don't usually buy these, but now I do because these work perfect. This is apple barrel, and then I have some Anita's all-purpose acrylic crafting paint. And they come in all kinds of different colors, and they're super cheap. I think the apple barrel is like 60 cents or something at Walmart. Yeah, there's also the art, Deco Art Americana. Thank you, Joe. There's a lot of cool things you can do with these when you layer and create, but this paint really works well, and so that's what I've been using. And you can see these prints. This is what I made 2 weeks ago. This one didn't come out very well, but then I was still messing around with the Liquitex and the golden, and it just didn't lift off the plate very well. This was kind of like a wash. This came out very nice, deep colors. And then my favorite is this long print that I made. Paper is key. This was a thicker printmaking paper, but then I had switched to these acrylics. So, yeah, it really transferred well to the paper. I've seen tissue paper being used. I've seen envelopes. In fact, I think I put some envelopes to the side. I have this really cool drawing paper that I purchased. It's like a Japanese drawing paper, and it is really thin. So I'm going to try that today. And I don't know if you can see, but it's super thin paper. They say tissue paper lifts really well. The napkins, when you have really pretty napkins and they're like 2-ply and you have that one white sheet and then the decorative sheet, use a decorative sheet in your mixed media or whatever, but that ply napkin that you take off the little white sheet, print on that with these. It's really, really cool. So this is on the paper. This is the jelly plate, and you can see it's really flexible. This particular one is a speedball gel plate, and it's expensive. And it works really well, but it is pricey, and there is a better alternative. Well, it's not crazy pricey, but it is. I mean, if you're an artist on a budget, $30 is a lot. $30 is a lot of paint. I was fortunate because I had a gift certificate, and so I went and picked this little thing up. And I had been wanting one for a while. So, unfortunately, it took me a while to use it. But here's some of the, like, you can put plants over it and then run your paper, and you can get a print of the impression of the leaves. Let me see here. Okay, so being that this is expensive, there is an alternative. And you're going to have to write this down because I don't have the recipe out in front where you can see it. But it is 1.5 cups of glycerin mixed with unflavored gelatin. You'll need 6 packs of unflavored gelatin. And then when you mix that and make sure that the gelatin's completely dissolved, you're going to mix in 1.5 cups of boiling hot water. And what happens is it creates a plastic when you do that with the glycerin and the gelatin. And so you can actually make your own jelly plates, which is really cool. And you can see they're kind of like gobbledygook. I don't have to, it says you can set them in the refrigerator to let them set. These were not set in the refrigerator. It's cold, so I just set them on my counter. I poured them. Make sure you have like a smooth baking dish. The squares work best. I tried to use a round and it just kept tearing. So I used a cookie cutter to make these little round ones. And I look forward to using those today. So I have transparency as a divider because one, it'll stick to it and keep it from getting all yucky. And it keeps them safe. And then I have them stored in a box that is like this. It's just a, whoop, there goes my pups. It's just a thick cardboard box. So these are some of the other jelly plates that I made using that recipe. All of these plates came from that one recipe. So this was the size of pan that I originally used. And you can see it's a square baking pan. It's real smooth. The bottom side, like the pour that you do in the pan, that bottom is actually going to be your top. I will. Thank you, Joe. Have a good day at work. Ah, if you can hear me, my dog's barking. Alice, stop. Okay, so, Alice. So, in the pan, it was face down. This is the top part of the thing, and as you can see, like the edges get a little damaged when you're trying to pry it out. You have to slide your knife along the edge, or a flat, very thin, like even palette knife is really good for this, to release it. And then you just pick up a corner and then flip it over and it'll fall right out. Sorry guys, it'll fall right out of the pan between my dog and my phone. Jeez. But it'll fall right out of the pan. And then you use that bottom surface as your printing surface. Oh look, surprise, surprise, Corsair has a hair in my jelly plate. So, this was the end result. It's really cool. And this way you can get a variety of shapes. You can cut them down. I cut 2 rectangles out of another of the cake pan, baking dish pans. And then, of course, I got these circles. Now, if you make a mistake, if it tears, if it's broken, and I do mark on my transparency top so that I know which surface is the smoothest surface. But if you do tear it, mess it up, these, not this jelly plate. I'm not sure on the speedball that you'd definitely not, like, you'd not want to do this, but on these jelly plates that are homemade, if you tear it, break it, whatever, put it in the microwave, melt it for like 30 seconds stir, 30 seconds stir, until it's melted back down into a liquid, and then put it back in your dish and let it set again, and it's ready to use once it's set. And some people recommend overnight. This has now been a couple of days, but I pretty much let it set for maybe 3 hours and it was fine. But I haven't used it since I did it, so it's maybe set a little longer. And what else? Oh, so yeah, you just stir it, put it in your container, and you can reform it or reshape it or do whatever you want. So I on that topic, and again, listen back through the video and you will hear the recipe. I'm going to get started on making these jelly plates. And, oh, okay. So paper, yes, is a good thing. The other thing you need is a brayer. And I have two different brayers. I'm going to use this one today. It's really small. It's not huge at all. So, I don't know, what is this, a 2-inch brayer? I have a bigger one that's like 4 inches. This is a small plate, and I just want to have enough. As you can see on my desk, I kind of got a little messy, which I always do. I always have paint on me or something. And, yeah, I got it all over my desk. So I'm going to use a smaller brayer today and see if I make less of a mess. You can use little tools like this. I haven't tried this yet. It's not hard, per se. It's a little soft, but it's, like, I'm not going to gouge my plate. I'm just going to lightly drag it across, but it makes interesting marks. And the other great tool to have are stencils. And I'm going to show you the stencils I was using for the prints, because I have since acquired more stencils. So this is one of my stencils, and as you can see, it's coated in paint. But you can just lay that down, put your paint, create different designs, or do your layers, and then put this down, go over with another layer of a contrasting paint, and you get a really great design like here. So stencils are great. There's a bunch of different stencils. You can buy them, Michael's, Hobby Lobby. Walmart has some really, really, really great stencils. They're called Waverly, and this is kind of like the packaging for it. So this is Waverly stencils. You get 12 designs, and technically, I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, but then the way that you, oh yeah, 12. So the way that you layer them and stuff, you can get a lot more designs. But, so there's 12 stencils, and this was like 4 something. So you can do that. The other thing is they sell these really cool packets of blanks, and it's called stencil blanks, show-offs. And I got these particular ones from Hobby Lobby. And I haven't done it yet, and I mean to, but what I'm going to do is, and thank you, my darling Beth. I just love her. Her and I, with art, we love it. But there's this, it's the Versatile wood burning tool, basically. And you can take this and create your own stencils. You just have to have a glass surface underneath your stencil paper, your work, and then if you have a design, you can just place that under and like trace it. Or if you want something more organic, just have fun with it and create your own stencil. So how cool is that? And you have to, like, of course, figure out which is the right head for the tool, and I think I want to say it's either that pointed one or this knife-like looking one. So, yeah, there's a bunch of different things that you can do with a jelly plate. And let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'll explain that at the end, but let's start with a nice mild base color. So I'm just going to drop it on here and spread it around. And there I go, getting paint on my desk, of course. Now I want to add a little and then I'm going to get a nice blend of the two colors. Okay. And why not? Let's throw in some kiwi on this side. And then I'm going to drop some kiwi over here. So here comes the paper. And hopefully this paper works well. If not, I'll have to find another type of paper. Now, you want to rub it on real good. And then peel it off really quickly. Because you don't want the acrylic to glue this paper down. And it did pull some fibers. I'm okay with that because I use it in mixed media. It didn't leave fibers on my plate. It just pulled the fibers. So now that I have this, I can actually go back over this print that I made. And I am going to excuse me, my throat's a little crazy today. It's dry. Oh, let's do a honeycomb, right? And I'm just going to put some drops on here. And spread that color. Bring it down. And try to line it up the best I can. It doesn't really matter. I like the more free look wherever it goes. Just kind of goes together. So now we have this really cool pattern. Hi, Rayleigh! And trying to put it somewhere where I'm not going to make a mess because I just, gotta make a mess. Now, I could print that, but I have this really cool thing here, and I am going to add a little something over here. Let's add purple in here a little bit with a bit of white. Oh, it's not really like a, it kind of is a purple, but we'll see. And I'm going to go this way. And spread that color around a little bit. I don't want to go all the way, I just kind of want it messy. And there's that. So, I'm going to take my print again and try to line it up the best I can. And down I go. Let's see what I lift up. So, not horrible. Not great. I think it needs more. So, let's go ahead. And bring in something really cool and huge. It's like this crazy big stencil. I'm going to move my plate just so my stencil will fit. Let's go in with a darker blue. Hope you're having a great day, Rayleigh. Oh, I want this pattern. I'm needing more paint. Because I really want more of this pattern to show up. I want it to be bold on the paper. And I don't want to take a whole lot of time rolling this out. As you can see, there goes paint on my finger. And here I go again. I'm going to line it up again. Ah! again, in printmaking, like you can do big old registrations, and that way you're laying it out exactly as you want it. So this is what we have right now. And you can do like great registrations. You can, that way whatever when you put your paper down, it's perfect. I don't care about perfect. I'm using this for mixed media. The more fluid it is, the better. So for background and for mixed media, I think I'm actually pretty happy with this. So I'm going to move on to something different. Now you do not have to clean your plate at all. And that is really cool. You can clean it at the end, and when you do, you can use baby wipes. I'm going to kind of blend this out. I like that washed effect. Ooh, and the pattern's still there. The layers sometimes will pick up, which is really cool when it does. Sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay too. Let's go with this pretty little pattern. Hammer! And I'm just gonna bring in some, let's go with Tuscan Red. Okay. Hope your day's going good. And blend this. Okay, I'm gonna press a little bit because the pattern is so small that the paint is not going into the grooves that well. So I'm just gonna press a little harder, see if I can get more of that paint moved around. I hope I don't sound so weird talking on this video. I am doing jelly plate printing. Been making messes, you know me. And my phone is going off. All nutty like. So here's some more paper. Don't use paper you're attached to. If you're attached to paper that you're like, oh my god, I can't, I don't want to use that paper, it's so pretty, blah, blah, blah. Don't use it. Because you're going to go through a lot of paper. This is addicting. How's Blanca? Okay, now see, look. Not a lot of color. So, that's okay. I'll just come back in and add some more paint. Sometimes you get a good ghost print. Sometimes the stuff doesn't lift off. I am going to let it dry for a second. Because supposedly, and I don't know, you can lift that whole thing off. I like the layers. Sometimes I wish this was the paper. Because the layers that you see on there are really, really cool. I got this translucent white. Not sure how translucent it is. But let's figure it out. Oh, and they have a nice little seal here, so. Okay. So, parts of this are dry. Parts of this are not. I'm going to actually roll my brayer because when I put this translucent white on, brayer still has a lot of red. So I'm just taking this and taking off that excess red. It's not going to take all of it off, but a good amount. Okay. So translucent white. Oh, see, there's the pink. I'm going to go ahead and use a lot of it because I want this plate really wet. Let's see if I can pick this print up. And another Corsair hair. I think she's shedding a little bit. There's a lot of paint on there. Let's see what happens. It's white, you're not going to be able to see it, but hopefully it'll pick up the bottom. Alice says, hello, Marissa. Shh, dog. Okay, yep, it's lifting some of it, but this is super light. It's not that great of a background. So, there you can see. So I'm going to see what else I can add to this. And I'm going to take this translucent white off. But it did lift some. I think if the colors were bolder, it would come out really great. Let's go ahead. I have some more colors. I bought a bunch of colors because these paints are like super cheap, which is really great. Oh, look, darker blue. But I'm going to mix this with some white. Or maybe some lighter blue. And you don't always have to go back and forth. You can go side to side. Just let it create patterns on the plate. But you do need a good amount of paint on the plate because it has to stay wet. If it dries on the plate, it's not coming off your plate onto the paper. You can get it off with baby wipes. You can get it off with baby oil. But some people don't even clean their plates. I'm a bit OCD. I clean my plate the best I can, I guess. I don't want to use that again. Let's go. Let's go with something like this. Here. And let's go with yellow. So this is a fun way to make cool papers to use for different things. You can create wrapping paper. You can create gift envelopes. You can do mixed media stuff like I do. You can use it for collages. It's just a great thing. You can doodle on it. You can just make, you know, like, I don't know where my book is. Oh, here it is. So, like, I have this whole watercolor book, but I use mixed media in it. So, if I wanted to, I could take some of that and glue it in here. Yeah, you can just do a variety of things. This actually I like. It's kind of weird with those little square things. Where did my paper go? I'm just going to print right over this. You never know what you get, so might as well just print over it. I want to use some of my little small jelly plates. So we'll lift. Still kind of like a weird, rugged denim type thing. I think the paint is drying way too much on this plate. Like that blue is definitely dry. So I might want to, I don't know, let's try something darker or brighter. Let's go ahead and build up this blue a little more. And I'm sorry if this is like watching paint dry, literally, right? And my dog's barking in the background. But again, this was a request for one of my friends that wanted to see how this was done. So hopefully she'll get to see it in the stream. Sorry, I'm bouncing around the camera. With the I'm just gonna bring this in a little bit. Now you can actually take, so I have that stencil that I just used, and I can actually take it down, again, roll it, and it's going to lift some of that stuff up. So I'm just going to blend out the edges a little bit because I don't want such a crazy line. And let's try to lift it again. See what happens. This is definitely darker. I'm just going to scoot it over. I went off the paper. When you're layering, scoot it over, move it over, do whatever. Whoop. This paper is super thin, kind of lifted. I can actually use this. Maybe it'll pick up a little more. Hand works just as well, but yeah, no, I don't know. It just doesn't want to come out super, like, it is pretty. You can see it. So it is usable. I'm going to move this to the side really quick. And I'm going to bring some white in here. And this is where I say I make messes as I do this. My desk space is really small, and I have a lot of space. Yeah, let's do, I'm stuck. Okay, so I have this stencil, and I'm just going to run this, yeah. Where's my little rectangle? Oh, of course, I just lifted up my okay, so this is my other rectangle jelly plate. I am going to put that down. I'm going to pick up some white. This is not the translucent white. This is a thicker white. It's just white. Like, it's not titanium white. It's not. It's just white. That's what you get when you buy apple barrel. So I'm just kind of muddling it up here. And I'm going to lift, as you can see the pattern. And I set this to the side. I'm going to set this to the side. I'm going to get my paper. And this is probably making it more complicated than I want it to be, but press it down. And there we go. So now there's a little texture in there. I will honestly have to figure out if the homemade ones release paint better than the speedball ones. The speedball plate does say, because they want to sell their product, use only with speedball. And I actually have nothing wrong with speedball ink. But sometimes you just want, oh yeah, look, wow, that cleans up super easy on these plates. So this is the baby wipe. And off the paint comes. Really easy. I just put my top back on and set that to the side. I am actually going to take this, whatever's left, oops, because it picks up the darn stencil, and create texture. I'm actually pretty content with this. I can see making a plate out of this, painting on top of it. So that one's going to go to the side, and now I'm left with this plate with a bunch of paint on it, and I am going to get something like this. Now, I'm going to let this dry on here after I get the color in there. So I'm going to try to lift it up again with the translucent white. And I can't fast forward or speed through this. It's not YouTube, and this is not an edited video. This is live. I don't think anybody's watching at the moment. Maybe somebody is, I'm not sure, but so I'm going to try to pick some of those up. I don't want that little ridge of green. And then I am also going to go ahead dots. So I'm going to take some of these dots and just kind of add a little detail here and there. I would love to be able to take this whole plate and lift it. And I will be publishing. Oh, of course, look, this is what I do. I get paint all over me. Okay, so there's a little more texture, a little more detail. Oh, there goes my dog, because the garbage truck is rolling by. I am always covered in paint. So, yeah. I'm just giving it a minute. Hope everybody's having a great day out there. Anybody has any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments below. When I post this on YouTube, I'll have links below. You can check out my other sites. Follow me. I want to actually start doing more of these. So even if I'm just working in the mixed media itself and creating panels, or I think live video is convenient. It takes a lot of time to edit videos, and it's just, you know, this is a lot better. Though drying time is not better, but yeah, like I would blow on it to make it dry faster. I'm like, hurry up. Maybe I can take one of these smaller plates while that one dries and work something else out. Let's do that, because watching paint dry is boring, right? Okay, let me take this bigger plate. Whoops, that's not the bigger plate. And let's really play with the homemade jelly plate and see. I love how it cleaned up so easy. So that's a plus. And you can see it's very gelatinous and gooey. This keeps, the transparency keeps your jelly plate from sticking on anything that you don't want it to stick to. We are going to see which plate is better, I guess. Speedball jelly plate or homemade jelly plate. I still have green on here, which is gross because now I have a weird bluish green thing, and that was not my intention. There goes my dog again because she's okay. You can really see how soft and pliable this is. I like these teal colors. Oh, jeez. I like this mixed mesh type blend of color here. Let me get... See, and that's the other thing. I don't want to take a whole lot of time trying to get plates out. Okay, well... off-center this, and we're going to add some beautiful purple. Or, I'm sorry, this is eggplant. Yum. I'm just going to kind of go sideways on this because I don't want those little lines on the edges, and I got some anyway, so I get impatient. But that's okay. Now this is why also small brayers come in handy. Just, you can work in a smaller space. I need an even smaller one, I'm thinking. Okay, not too bad. I'll leave that, I don't care. My paper, however, oh, here it is, has disappeared, vanished. So if I've bored about half the people on my list now, hopefully there's others out there that find this cool and will gain knowledge in this. So I have put the paper down. Like I said, you can go through a lot. Gosh, I feel like I'm wasting paper, but if I don't like something, guess what? I can print on the back. And no, I don't want enough paint coming off, so I'm going to try to rub this in with my gun. Let's see. I need more paint. So, let's go ahead and go in with the pink on this side. Maybe mute it a little bit with white because that's like Pepto Pink. There's a lot of paint on there. It better do something is all I say, but we'll see. There's some purple mixed in. This is a lot of paint. And I did already print that bottom, so like I'm going to go ahead and take this color because I don't like pink that much. Pink is alright, but not in that quantity. Instead of blending it, it's more let's see what happens there. somebody will come along on YouTube. You're doing it wrong. I don't know. But actually, pretty cool. I'm not unhappy with that. It's a little hard to see the color via the phone, but actually I do like this. So I'll stick that one to the side because that's a keeper. And yeah, you do have to use a lot of paint. Hi, Erica. And let's go ahead and let's go back to something like this blue here. I'm going to bring it across the top. Let's go ahead and mix some yellow. As you can see, I'm using a lot of paint. The more paint I use, it seems the better. Oh, that marbling. Let's go ahead and check this out. And the plate just gives, which is really cool. I am going to lift maybe this. I should not use my hands because I do. This is what happens. That is like my life, okay? Paint everywhere, always. No big deal. It washes off. More paper. I'm going to go through this whole roll today. I have a feeling this is going to come out very thick because there is a lot of paint on this plate. And it's basically, this is all about experimenting, what you like, what you see, how you work with it, and how it comes out. So, I mean, it's alright. I don't like it as much as I like the other ones. It's kind of hard to see because the paper keeps curling. It did lift some of the paint below, so that's where I get all these other weird colors in there. I think it needs something more vibrant that isn't, well, yeah, maybe this. Like, what haven't I used yet? I have tons of stencils. Here's a different one. Let me go ahead and use this one. Bright red. Dark red, it says. It's very bright. It's not so dark. I'm going to get some of this excess paint off because it will bleed into the other paint. And I don't want a washy yellow, blue, red color going on here. Okay. It's going to really stand out on this plate. It almost looks like tile. So, this is going to be interesting. Now line it up again best I can. I have a lot of weird light here. I don't get it exact. Oh well. So, this is the print. It's okay. Not my favorite. It it needs something, but maybe that comes through embellishment on mixed media, something like that. So again, I think this jelly plate releases fairly well. It has a lot of different textures in it than the speedball plate, but the speedball plate is very smooth. So if you want to make your own jelly plate for a lot less, again, it's you can find the glycerin in like the pharmaceutical section near Band-Aids and all that stuff, and by the alcohol and brain fog. I can't think of what it's called right now, but it's like near the antiseptics basically. And so a cup and a half of glycerin. So it for me it took up 2 6-ounce bottles and half of a 6-ounce bottle. So maybe about 14 ounces of glycerin. But a cup and a half of glycerin, 6 packets of unflavored gelatin. You mix it really, really well. It will dissolve, and then you add 1.5 cups of hot water, boiling hot water, and then stir it up really, really well, and then pour it in a smooth surface type pan. This, you can tell, is like one of those baking dishes that's, I don't know, 6x6 or 8x8, 6x6. And you're going to use the surface that cools on the bottom. Once it sets, you're going to let it set for a few hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, or overnight. And then you will take it out. This bottom part is actually the top layer, and this is the bottom because this is the smoothest part of the surface. Also, if you get little air bubbles, pop them with your finger, get them out of there. If you see an air bubble on the bottom, try to get it out because that air bubble will leave like an impression, and then that will be on every single print you make. So this is definitely a cheaper version. You can use a longer pan, a long square cake pan, and make a really big plate like the speedball one that I have here. And again, this was a speedball plate, and it ran about $30, $31. So $31 versus, I don't know, I think it was like $12 maybe. So, and I got several plates. I didn't just get this plate. I made multiple plates. So, yeah, $30, a lot less. So, and as you can see, it prints really well. It's a permanent plate. If it messes up, you can microwave it, melt it down, 30-second intervals, stir it until it's liquid again, and then pour it back in your plate. And you'll have a new printing plate. Yep. Sorry. So, have a great day. Hope everybody enjoyed, watching or said, what the heck is she doing now? I don't know. But, yeah. Hopefully I'll be able to post more of these. Thanks.